Hello and welcome on a sunny Friday night. I'm David Lewis. Alongside me, Collin Smith. Collin, it's hot here in the broadcast booth, as you can see. But you know what else is hot? The Gaithersburg Giants. As we head into the final 10-game stretch of the regular season, Gaithersburg currently sits at 8-21. However, they've doubled their wins in the last week.
You mentioned it. The weather's hot, and the Giants have to. Talking to manager TJ Brockway last night, he gave me the nickname, the July Giants. They're on a 3-game win streak. It could be 4. There's that funky T-Bolts game 3 outs away that had to end in the bottom of the 9th. So 3, I'll say 3.5 game win streak because they need 3 more outs as it stands. But it's the July Giants. They're back. The playoff push is on. There's been shifts in the lineup. They got help in the bullpen and the pitching staff. Guys are starting to perform. We've seen new faces. A guy like Cade Hens. He's been a consistent starter since joining the Giants. I'm excited to see what this final push will look like.
Final push indeed, and it's really allies for Gaithersburg going to enemies. Last night, South County took down the T-Bolts, much to the smiles of the Giants, as they need the T-Bolts to lose as many games as possible here. But now, Gaithersburg taking on the Braves. Logan Wiley making his second start for Gaithersburg on the mound. First pitch to Adelman misses low, and now it's 1-0 to start this game.
I mentioned the help joining the bullpen. Wiley getting his second start. He's one of those guys.
Second pitch now misses too high. And Wiley, through that first start, up to a 6 ERA and a 1 whip. A batting average allowed of .231. 2-0 to Adelman. Grounds this one foul down the third base line. Adelman, the leadoff guy for the Braves, batting .349. Second highest in this Braves lineup, just 1 point off of Franklin Gomez, batting in the 3-hole. 2-1 is swung and missed to even the count at 2-2. Wiley was able to collect 2 punch-outs across 14 batters faced in his first start. Trying to get his third punch-out of the season here. 2-2. Grounded foul again by Adelman.
Adelman's going to battle away. He doesn't want to give him that third punch out. The Giants starting hot has been something that's really been a difference maker in this game. We saw Sean McCabe gave up a first inning run and a second inning run, but his starting pitching is what carried them to that win.
2-2, swing and a miss by Adelman, and Logan Wiley sees one and punches him out. And there's one away here in the top of the first.
And that's exactly how you want to start a game in your second start, wearing the light blue for Gaithersburg. Getting rid of the first guy. You mentioned Adelman, a guy who has the second highest batting average on the team. A great leadoff hitter, wants to get on base, and Wiley gets the party going for Gaithersburg.
That'll bring up J.W. Kohlmeyer. So we mentioned that party starting mentality, and I think really the case for the July Giants has been eliminating that big inning. That was a big thing early in the season, and certainly the starting pitching has done a much better job of that. 1-0 missed inside, 2-0.
You mentioned getting rid of that big inning. You and I watched a couple games that were 6 and 7, even 13-run innings given up by the Giants, so avoiding that.
2-0 misses low and inside. Now 3-0 to J.W. Kohlmeyer. Kohlmeyer played against the Giants back on Monday night, was the leadoff guy, where he went 1 for 3 with a single and a strikeout. 3-0. Misses upstairs, so a lot easier than his 3 previous at-bats versus Gaithersburg. J.W. Kohlmeyer with a 4-pitch walk.
And something I saw last night from the Giants was the pitchers. They used 4 of them. I say 4. The final pitcher only threw 1 for a fly out in the bottom of the 9th. But they've gone from strikeouts to 4-pitch walks, and that's really dangerous. Early in the game, you got to find that consistent control. Don't lose yourself just because you get a strikeout.
That pitch does find the zone outside. Zach White able to frame that one up on Franklin Gomez Jr. As I mentioned, batting 1 point higher than Trent Adelman Gomez batting .350. In fact, Gomez also played Monday night against Gaithersburg, where he went 1 for 2, reached on error and walked and singled, but did not showcase the home run power as he did to my previous trip. Swings and misses there, 0-2. Gomez has been the main consistent workhorse for this Braves offense that's had many different faces to it.
He's also one of the seniors on this team, so an older team that the Braves are compared to last night's Grays.
0-2, this one lofted into straightaway center. Henley ranging back, makes the grab just before the warning track, and there's 2 away.
And that had some power behind it, not quite far enough to get out of the park, only 329. So you and I talked about the humidity atmosphere. It wasn't quite flying, and Houghton Henley able to track it down. Houghton Henley's really stepped up as a consistent center fielder for these Giants in the back half of the season.
Yeah, has stepped in for the injured Jaden Brown. We hope that Jaden Brown can maybe return to this hot team, because you remember he had a really hot bat, has an OPS currently above 1 as he's not taken off the roster yet. There's still a chance Brown could come back. 0-1. This one popped up. Ranging in is Powell, but Hentz makes the grab. View is a little obstructed, but Hentz called off Powell for the 3rd and final out. So really crisp inning there from Logan Wiley to get things going.
Exciting to see. That big inning hasn't happened yet. Let's see if Wiley can continue to avoid it. His starting pitching is going to be very important if the Giants want to come away with a victory tonight.
It'll be Nate Houghton Henley, Brady Powell, and Danny Orr to start things off for Gaithersburg when we come back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Going to the bottom of the first, a goose egg for the Braves to start off the first inning, thanks to Logan Wiley. Allowed just a walk, but did get a strikeout. And now Aiden Van Bars takes the mound, this time for the Braves.
And Van Bars, a really consistent guy on the mound for the Braves, 3rd on the team in innings pitched, and he's top 4 in qualified pitchers of ERA for the Braves, so certainly a guy they lean on.
Yeah, he makes his 4th start here for the Braves. We'll face Nate Houghton Henley, who has had himself an amazing last week of baseball, one of many to heat up his bat. First pitch to Henley, chopped back into the glove of Brinkman. I mentioned Henley in his last 4 games batting .500 across the 14 at-bats, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases for the future Terrapin. Second pitch is inside at 94, and now the count is 1-1. So we're back to another flamethrower on the mound for the Giants' opposition. Saw it last week against the T-Bolts with Josh Zuckerman. This one lofted into right field, ranging over, and it gets over the head of Ottoman. Henley is going to go to third. The relay is going to be cut off by the shortstop there, Kohlmeyer. And no throw to third. A leadoff triple for Henley.
And a lead-off triple, mostly because of the fact that Nate Houghton Henley runs the bases like second to none. I love to say it. He's a future Terrapin. It might be a slow mascot in a turtle, but Houghton Henley shows his speed off on the base path.
He's been able to really hone in on his speed lately. I mentioned those 8 stolen bases in his last 4 games. Doesn't really have much room to work with on the base paths here, as he's already gone all the way to third.
Who knows, 90 feet away from home, he might want to show off that speed just a little bit more.
Well, it's 0-1 to Brady Powell. First run of the game, 90 feet away for Gaithersburg. Now 0-2 to Powell, who is batting .250. And then on Monday, this is funny, Collin. I'm not sure if Jake mentioned this to you. On that Monday game against the Braves, Powell had 3 sacrifice flies for RBIs.
Jake did mention that to me. Brady Powell, certainly a guy who likes to get on base, but this time it was sacrificing coming around. And where does he find himself to lead off this game? In a perfect sacrifice opportunity. If it were to go that way, I'm sure he'd rather knock a base hit and stay out there. But Nate Houghton Henley, I say 90 feet, but probably a little bit closer. He's a fast guy. I'm sure he's taking a nice lead. We are a little obstructed from it, but Houghton Henley, it's more like 75.
0-2, swing and a miss there by Powell, 92 upstairs. And Van Bars has his first punch out, so unable to put a ball in play is Powell. And that'll bring up Danny Orr.
Danny Orr, he started last night's game off with a deep double, bounced off the back center wall. It went 349, so just a few feet away from going yard. We'll see what he can do to start tonight.
And that one goes off of his helmet, so we didn't get an exit speed off that one, but an entrance speed out of the hand of Van Bars at 92. It was just a glancing blow, so no concern there from Orr, but that was quite an interesting way to start your at-bat.
Certainly not the 2-base knock he had last night. This time it's just a knock to the head. Glad he's okay, though. We saw Brady Ruiz-White take one in the high 80s last night. He got up and popped away. Same with Danny Orr. Good to see it all around.
And it's good to see Andrew Hollab in a position like this. Runners on the corners, 1 out. First pitch is lined right at Goldhill at third, leaving the bat at 102. But Goldhill able to get the leather and square that baseball up for out number 2.
And that was a really, really impressive catch. The fact that came off the bat of 102 for Goldhill, that's not really making a baseball play. That's more like in the batter's box against an MLB pitcher, or maybe a soccer, lacrosse, hockey goalie catching something at you 100 miles an hour.
Now 2 gone for Bryce Rudisil, who watches ball 1. May have just been a little low on the knees of Rudisil, who had another home run last night. 1-0. This one chopped right into the glove of Van Bars, flipped over to first for out number 3. So after a leadoff triple from Nate Houghton Henley, he's stranded on third.
And you can tell he's not the happiest about that. We see him smiling kind of near the batter's box. I think the Giants know that their offense is there. Clearly, they were getting on base. We saw the impressiveness from Houghton Henley. They had the corners and kind of a few unfortunate outs there. The bounce right there going straight to Van Bars. The field out to Goldhill. That's not something you're going to see every single inning.
Yeah, so some misfortune for Gaithersburg in the bottom of the first. 0-0 as we go to the second. Logan Wiley will be back out on the mound for Gaithersburg when we return on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. I'm David Lewis, alongside me, Collin Smith, for what will inevitably be Friday Night Lights. No weather on the radar, just baseball to be played here on this Friday night.
And the only weather on the radar is straight heat, both on the mound and in the skies. We saw low 90s in the last inning.
First pitch from Wiley at 76, not the low 90s as you mentioned from Aiden Van Bars, but it misses outside. 1-0 to Charlie Brinkman. Brinkman lofts this one into right field, but Magnus Krieger is right there to make the grab.
Good to see his glove getting behind that one. David, do you remember a couple games ago we saw Magnus Krieger, it bounced out of his glove. They did give him the out, but glad to see there's no question on this one.
Yeah, no question there. Krieger pretty much positioned in the right place. Just had to prance over to where that baseball was about to land and gets out number one on Charlie Brinkman. That brings up Connor Doherty. First pitch to Doherty misses way outside. Doherty had a home run last night against the T-Bolts. One that me watching all these games from home, wanting Gaithersburg to get closer and closer to that playoff spot, drew a big smile on my face. Now it's 2-0 to Doherty.
I'm sure it drew a big smile on all of our faces. The group chat was fired up when that happened. The Giants just clawing back. Chip away, that's what I say.
2-0 popped up. Calling for it is Orr in foul ground. And I believe that one hit off of the netting before it got to the glove of Orr. So 2-1 the count now to Connor Doherty, the second baseman and rising freshman at Delaware.
Future Blue Hen. I'm sure he's excited that his Blue Hens are in the new college football game, first year in the FBS.
Yeah, they're giving away some sort of packs, I believe. I believe they're coaches' merchandise packs if you play as the Delaware Blue Hens and then win a national championship with them. 3-1 to the future Blue Hen, who lines this one right to Brady Powell for out number 2.
And that one is not going to be too enjoyed by the future Blue Hen. We keep talking about it. Brady Powell, I like to say the Iron Man out in left field. Yesterday it was second base. He's all over. Was one of the all-stars for this Gaithersburg team. Unfortunately, that game, like many this season in the DMV area, forced to cancel due to weather.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Powell enjoyed would have wanted to play in that game or not. He's the Iron Man for how often he plays, so not sure if he enjoyed his off day or would rather have played in that all-star game. 1-0 to Lavonga.
Powell's also the Iron Man for how far that he drives. He has over an hour and a half commute to Gaithersburg. It's the furthest Cal Ripken League Stadium from his house, but he got a shot with the Giants off of Tommy John and never looked back.
2-0. This one fouled back into the fence. And yeah, Powell just has been an amazing player for this Giants team. Amazing guy to just talk to, whether it's during a rain delay, post-game, pre-game, anything. Brady Powell has just been a great person to be around. And making that catch on Connor Doherty. It left the bat at 101. So now both teams with lineouts 100+. And now 2-2 to Michael Lavonga, wearing number 36, rostered as number 4. 2-2. Leaves that one low in the dirt. Full count now to Lavonga. Wiley has to wait on his second punch-out.
And you mentioned Lavonga's number change. He's had 33 at-bats. You would have thought that they'd have the correct number in the system by now.
Full count. Swing and a miss by Lavonga. And Logan Wiley through the top of the second inning with 2 punch-outs now in his collection. 3 up, 3 down for Wiley. We'll step away and be right back with Cade Hentz, Magnus Krieger, and Zach White due up for Gaithersburg. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Collin taking some little practice swings there in between innings.
Well, I had Zach White call me out. He's warming up. He's telling me he pointed far left. So I think he's going deep when he gets up to bat in a few.
Well, 3 Giants went yard against the Braves on Monday night in South County. Cade Hentz up to bat now. He hits this one on the ground over to Doherty at second. Fields it and makes the throw in time. 1 pitch, 1 out for Van Bars.
Well, Cade Hentz reached base via an error last night. He's done that 3 or 4 times this season. Jake and I were talking about it's hard to field the Cade Hentz ball. That was 97 off the bat, so no easy task for the second baseman there.
Yeah, as you mentioned, pitch came in at 92, left the bat at 97. That brings up Magnus Krieger. Krieger back in the lineup for the first time in a week. He watches strike 1. The rising sophomore at Seton Hall batting just above 200. 0-1. Fouls this one off back into the netting. He's down 0-2.
And usually, David, when a pitch hits the netting or fence, I usually go to check the camera shaking. Today, we have the camera up in the booth. There's a little bit of difficulties with our tripod, so bear with us. I think we got a good setup today.
Try to give you the best angle possible. 0-2 to Krieger. Swing and a miss there from the Seton Hall Pirate. Van Bars gets his first punch out of this start, and now 2 gone here in the bottom of the second.
And again, Van Gars has lived in those low 90s, and he doesn't show any signs of slowing down, bringing the heat with every single pitch. That one at the top of the zone finds Krieger chasing.
Brings up Zach White now, the one who was pointing at the fences, watches a 91 on the outside part of the plate.
Zach White, another one of those guys, like we talked about Brady Powell. He's always up here in the booth. Both of them during rain delays chatting it up with us.
0-1. Holds on that one. Just misses the low outside corner at 92. Now 1-1 from Aiden Van Bars, the sophomore from Pitt Community College. This one fouled back into the netting, and he is up 1-2. Looking for back-to-back punch-outs. Zach White trying to keep this inning alive for Gaithersburg. They stranded runners on the corners last inning. Bases empty here for Zach White. 1-2. That one hits him square in the back. The second hit by pitch from Van Bars. This one at 81 and hitting an unprotected part of Zach White.
And I think him pointing, which is him turning around and showing me his back where he was going to wear the pitch that got him on base. I'm just kidding there. I'm sure he did not want to get nailed, but takes it like a champ nonetheless.
And he's had a few off days in a row as Ethan McNally has returned to Gaithersburg. Time called by the umpire, it appears. So no disengagements, no time by the batter or catcher or anyone, just the umpire needing a breather. Van Bars goes now. That one gets away from Brinkman. Brinkman can't find it, and it's under the pads here in the backstop at Criswell Automotive Field. So Zach White will stand on second base, and I believe that the ball will be ruled out of play, so it won't be a stolen base for Zach White.
And you and I don't quite have the best view of where that would have went, but we didn't even see a big search attempt for Brickman. He kind of just popped up, so it must be totally out of view.
Now 1-0 to Marino, 2-0 to Aiden Marino. So that wild pitch won't be a stolen base attempt, and successful attempt at that for Zach White as that one gets out of play, as it were. 2-0 to Aiden Marino. Swing and a miss there from Marino, 92, low part of the zone.
And speaking of wild pitches, Jake and I, when we were on the broadcast for the T-Bolts, we saw one go into the dugout. That was the first time I'd seen a ball roll in the dugout this season.
2-1, check swing. They defer down to first, and they say he went around. 2-2 the count now to Marino. Van Bars let Zach White get away, but can he rein in Marino, or can Marino keep this going? Second runner in scoring position for Gaithersburg, Zach White on second base. 2-2, two outs from Van Bars. Popped up into shallow right field. Adelman under it and makes the grab for out number 3. Gaithersburg strands another runner in scoring position, but Van Bars still giving some traffic despite him throwing up into the low 90s.
And yeah, the traffic was due to some wild pitches, mostly the wearing on the back of Zach White. And then I'm going to go with the most wild pitch we've seen all season because the ball straight up disappeared.
Well, we hope that the game gets wild here in Gaithersburg through 2 innings, 0-0. And we'll step away on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Nate Dudek up first for the Braves. The designated hitter, rostered as a pitcher, came in one of 2 or 3 pitchers to come in Monday night for the Braves, as they were down 16-1 to Gaithersburg in that one. Final score was 16-2. Oh, and 2 now to Dudek to start off the top of the third here. One and 2 as he lays off that one. And Collin, as we went over the roster, Dudek, one of 3 guys from FDU Tannic, and he swings and misses at that one. Third punch out for Wiley.
Really impressive stuff from Wiley so far. You mentioned he came into the game with only 2 punch-outs. He's since doubled that and more with 3 so far tonight.
Certainly gearing it up here in his second start this summer for the Giants. That brings up the 9-hole hitter for the Braves, Alexei Goldhill, who watches ball 1. Another rising senior on this roster. He is at Bryant. 1-0. This one lofted right over the head of Marino and into shallow right here. Here's a pull down to Rudisill, and they say safe at first. Krieger thought he may have had the jump there on Goldhill.
It was an impressive attempt from Krieger getting under that ball fast enough off a bounce, and I'm just glad that it was handled well by Bryce Rudisill. We've seen past balls create dangerous opportunities in advanced base runners a lot this season, and I'm not really sure if Zach White was there for backup, so glad that Rudisill almost got the out, but more glad that he maintained possession.
That'll bring up the top of the order in Trent Adelman. Watches ball 1, struck out his first time up. Yeah, I mean, it was a really accurate and hard throw from Krieger, and nearly had Goldhill at first. You rarely see those plays in baseball, as it takes a lot for a base runner to not reach first base on a ball that lands in the outfield grass. One-hopped Krieger. 2-0 now to Adelman. Step off and throw over to first. Not in time.
Yeah, again, going to that hit, we've talked a lot about kind of that no man's land zone, getting it over the in between the outfielders and the infielders, and that wasn't no man's land because it was in play.
This one gets out of play, however. Now 2-1 the count, lands right in the Giants' bullpen. First time through the order for Logan Wiley. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 1 single. The single, however, not coming until Alexei Goldhill moments ago. 2-1, 1 out to Trent Adelman. Swings and misses there. 2-2, 75 off speed. So it's interesting from the Braves' perspective as fielders to see their starter go up to 92, 93, 94, and then face Logan Wiley, who has been living in that off speed in the mid to high 70s. 2-2. Skips in. Now in at 75 as well, but well low of the zone, and now it's full count to Adelman.
Mentioned the change in velocities. I think Goldhill has seen his fastest ball of the night when he caught that line out at 102. Don't think either pitcher's reaching that.
Full count pitch misses upstairs, and now there's 2 base runners on. First base runner in scoring position for the Braves, as Alexei Goldhill will make his way to second, and Adelman down to first. That brings up J.W. Kohlmeyer, now one of 2 walks issued by Logan Wiley. He was the lone base runner for the Braves in the first inning. Didn't go further than first base. First pitch to Kohlmeyer. He lofts this one into left field. Powell ranging over. Will spin around, and Goldhill won't tag. Base runners stay where they are, and there's 2 gone, so unproductive out on the first pitch from J.W. Kohlmeyer.
No fight from Kohlmeyer whatsoever. 1 pitch sends it 277 to the glove of Brady Powell. He's a consistent guy in this lineup. You talked about he led it off last time against the Giants, but has struggled batting the ball. Only a 205 average and only 9 hits on the season, but still a consistent guy. We saw him reach base last time he was up.
Yeah, on base percentage at 327 compared to his now just above 200 average. First pitch finds the top part of the zone on Gomez. Was waiting to see that one borderline at the belt. But it is strike 1. 0-1 to Franklin Gomez. Wiley looks down Goldhill, delivers. This one lined right under Marino. Coming around to score is Goldhill. Going to third is, they say, safe. There is Adelman. Taking second base is Franklin Gomez. RBI single that he's able to stretch to a double. And it's 1-0 Braves.
And that's a really difficult play to see if you're a Giants fan, because Marino, he was kind of dancing a little bit back there because he was thinking about a potential pickoff on second base, but he was in the right position to make a play there, and it looked like it just went through his glove, and instead of potential out, potential no base runners advancing, 1 scores in the corners, and not the corners, second and third are full, 2 guys in scoring position.
That'll bring up Nick Frankuzenko, who popped out to hence his first time up, I believe, on the first pitch, because I don't remember saying his name back in the first inning.
I was going to say, last time the Braves were playing here, I was on PA, and I really butchered Frankuzenko's name, but I think we got it down now.
Well, Frankuzenko will watch ball 1, now 1-1 the count. 2 runners in scoring position now for the Braves, who just plated the first run of the game. 1-1. Swing and a miss from Frankuzenko. Adelman on third. Gomez on second. So it's an RBI single, but then on the throw down to third, Gomez able to advance to second. 1-2 chopped foul off the body of Frankuzenko. Frankuzenko was the hitter of the week the first week, but has really cooled off since then. As I mentioned earlier, Gomez, the most consistent of the Braves' offense, but Frankuzenko, the original workhorse back from the first week of the season, as we're getting near to the last week of the season. 2-2, 2 outs, 2 runners in scoring position Pitch from Wiley. Popped into left field. Ranging back is Powell, and he makes the grab, making it look easy as he holds his glove up and runs around.
He made that look casual, no doubt in his eyes ever. Sometimes you see outfielders, I know we can't see eye contact with them, but there is a look of worry. Never with Brady Powell. The Iron Man stays consistent. The ball is going to his glove, and he's making plays.
Yeah, it was an interesting route from Powell, but able to make the grab and makes it look easy as Gaithersburg now looks to respond. Braves taking a 1-0 lead from the top of the third, and we'll step away here on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Nate Houghton-Henley leading off the bottom of the third. Let's see if he can somehow do better than how he led off the bottom of the first, as he had a stand-up triple back in the bottom of the first, but was stranded on third at the end of that inning. 1-0 Braves after Alexei Goldhill comes around to score on a Franklin Gomez Jr. RBI single. First pitch to Henley. Skips out, and it's 1-0. Heard frustration from Charlie Brinkman on his throwdown just before we got underway, and maybe some frustration there from Aiden Van Bars on the first pitch. 1-0. Misses upstairs now to Henley.
I mentioned Van Bars has the craziest wild pitch I've seen all year, and he follows this inning up to begin with two of them, so a little bit questionable on the control. The speed is there, but we've seen a couple walks. We saw the disappearance of a ball, so it's going to take a lot for Van Bars to calm it down and find it.
2-0. This one lofted into right field. That one's going to fall for a base hit.
And just somehow when Nate Houghton-Henley hits the ball, it finds the field. That what looked like it could have been a potentially just a right field line out turns into a base hit for him.
Yeah, an opposite field base knock. I mean, we saw some opposite field slaps, not really just hard hit balls, but just slaps to the opposite field against the big train about a week ago. But there, Henley driving it into right field. This one a comebacker right up to second base. The throw to first to complete the double play. 4-3 double play. Connor Doherty flashing the leather as his pitcher, Van Bars, had to crouch under that baseball.
And again, that's really a difficult situation for the Giants. I talked about in the first inning last time this part of the order was up, that they're getting the bat behind the ball, they're getting good hits, but into kind of unfortunate spots. That was almost fielded just perfectly for a double play.
That'll bring up Danny Orr. Tips that one back into the glove of Brinkman, and that play by Doherty has set a fire under his dugout or bullpen or whoever's making all that noise. The Braves have another loud dugout. 0-1 now to Orr. Pops this one up. Doherty calls for it and makes the grab in shallow right. So that is a quick inning thanks to Connor Doherty.
I was going to say impressive defensive work from Connor Doherty. being a part of all three of the outs, making the impressive grab, tag, throw for the double, and then he had to shift a little bit there. He had to get moving to get that fly out from Danny Orr.
He is able to secure the baseball, and we have a new arm coming in for Gaithersburg. Logan Wiley done after 3. It'll be the incoming Marymount freshman Owen Singer back on the mound when we return on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Owen Singer on the mound for his 3rd appearance for Gaithersburg this summer.
And Owen Singer, he has 0 ERA. Let's see if he can keep that up tonight.
Had a phenomenal first 2 appearances for Gaithersburg. It was 2 1/3 innings pitched versus the Aces, just giving up 2 hits and 3 walks, but goes through that scoreless. And then 4 innings, giving up 1 hit, 2 walks against the T-Bolts. And again, scoreless for the rising freshman at Marymount. First batter he will face is Charlie Brinkman.
Joining him at 0 ERA on the stat sheet is Nate Henley and Aaron Babayev, too. We saw some positional pitching last time, or not the last time you and I got the chance to call a Braves-Giants game. They've since matched up, and it was you and Jake on the call.
Yeah, this is, I believe, the last meeting between these 2 teams. I'll double check that here in a couple innings when we start talking about the future of Gaithersburg. This beginning one of the last 10 games of the regular season. 0-2 to Brinkman, fouled off and out of play.
The Braves and Giants will face off one more time, July 20th here at Criswell Field.
So I don't have to make any more trips to Lorton, Virginia for the rest of the season.
That 95 traffic kills sometimes.
It does. 0-2. Brinkman lofts this one over the head of Krieger, but he makes the grab. Krieger had to go a long way to get that baseball, but it hung up just long enough for him to track down.
And that one reminded me a little bit of the one Brady Powell made just an inning ago. I wonder if they're playing a game of pig or horse out in the outfield, Powell's like, I catch a ball this way. Krieger responds, catching it over the shoulder. So nobody getting any letters yet.
Yeah, it certainly looked like they were mirroring each other on that one. But first out of the inning, first out for Owen Singer, as he will now get to work on Connor Doherty, who swings and misses there. Doherty doing it all defensively for the Braves last inning. Had a 4-3 double play turned and then a pop out that he secured for out number 3. He watches ball 1, now 1-1 the count to Doherty. One, misses outside, 1-2. 2-1. Apologies for that. 2-1. Missed above the belt. There at 75. Now 3-1 the count to Connor Doherty. That one misses in the dirt, and it's a walk for Doherty, who swung around on the first pitch and then sees 4 straight balls from Owen Singer.
You think that he's gotten that coach's pack we were talking about with Delaware on the new college football game?
You know, I would be very surprised if he has already won a national championship with Delaware in college football 26. Means he has a lot of time on his hands. Now, he did not play for the Braves Monday night, so maybe that's what he was doing with his Monday night.
Maybe he had the deluxe pack. It came out a little early.
1-0. This one cracked over to Hensett. Short fields it, flips to Marino. Double play ball over to first in time. 6-4-3 to end the 4th inning.
Again, I talked about that mirroring in the outfield. The Giants watched the Braves crack a nice double play an inning ago, and they respond with one of their own. This time, though, it ends the inning in itself.
Michael Lavonga grounds out into that double play, and we will step away here on the Giants Broadcast Network.
Ready?
Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Andrew Holub up first in the bottom of the 4th. Holub was, I guess you could say, robbed of a base hit and a RBI at that into the glove of Alexei Goldhill as he had a line out to the Braves' third baseman. It left the bat at 102 his last time up against Van Bars. First pitch, he leaves inside, and it's 1-0 to Holub.
And Holub has the batting average of .326, second highest on the team, only behind an injured Jaden Brown.
1-0. Check swing ends up going around, and now 1-1. Holub, one of those guys that always wants to wonder how hard he hit that baseball, and I'm wondering if he wanted to know after that line out how hard it was. 1-1, swinging and missing there is Holub, now 1-2.
Well, I remember when we were at South County, both Holub and Joey Nicholson at the time kept coming over to ask us what the TrackMan was telling them.
Yeah, in terms of exit velos, 1-2. Holub leaves that one alone, skips in to the glove of Brinkman, 2-2. Yeah, he actually did the same thing Monday night to Jake and I in that game. Holub was the DH just like tonight and was asking us about all his different exit velos, which included a home run for Holub. 2-2 leaves it low at 92, wisely so, for a full count.
Now, as a designated hitter, maybe he can play a little college football because he has no defensive work during those half innings.
Oh, I got you. We'll see if he's behind the dugout. Full count pitch. Skips in and bounces off the glove there of Brinkman, but either way, it's a leadoff walk for Andrew Holub.
I don't see any extension cord out to the first baseline for him to get the sticks going. And he came out of Iowa, so maybe he wants to rebuild Iowa State since he's left the Hawkeyes and wants to get back after them.
I'm not sure. He's a New York native, so not sure if he wants to deal with Syracuse or Wagner, but Wagner's not in the game. FCS school. I just remembered that.
He could add them. He could build them.
1-0 now to Bryce Rudisil. Watches it strike one. 1-1 the count now. Just clipped the low part of the zone. Has seen back-to-back 91-mile-an-hour pitches from Van Bars, who continues to keep his velocity up. 1-1. This one chopped over to first. Looked like it stayed fair to me, but fielded it foul, I guess, by the first baseman, Frank Kuzenko.
It looked like Frank Kuzenko, he was waiting in the last inning, but it looks like he almost fielded that a second early with his foot on the foul line. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I mean, from my view, it looked like the ball was still in fair play, but just because Frank Kuzenko is in foul territory, I believe it is called foul. So 1-2 now the count to the Mount St. Mary's man. He hits this one the opposite way into left field, and that one goes foul as well. So he's hit one foul down both lines now.
I was going to say Bryce Rudisil is absolutely flirting with the chalk lines to the left and right tonight. He's getting as close as he possibly can. I wonder what his thought is there, trying to sneak one past the corners.
Well, interestingly enough, his thought hasn't been swinging for the fences necessarily, as he has in recent days. 2 home runs just in the last 4 days for Rudisil. Had a 3-run homer against these Braves Monday night. 1-2 leaves that one alone. Upstairs, practically above the head of the 6-foot-plus tall Rudisil. Now 2-2. Holub on first. Rudisil grounds this one over to Frank Kuzenko, flags it down, now throws to second, and can't complete the double play. So Rudisil is called out on first. Did not get a direct out call from the umpire. Frank Kuzenko fielded the ball, tapped first with his glove, and then threw down to second for the tag on Holub, but didn't get it.
And I mentioned that he was flirting with the foul lines there. This time he goes all the way for it. I think he asked for the Snapchat and got denied. He goes out, but he sets up his guy, Andrew Holub, to get into scoring position, so maybe a little wingman action.
We'll see. Holub, not really known for his wheels, which is why we didn't really see a steal attempt. TJ Brockway wants to talk things over with the field umpire who made that call.
He wants to make sure Bryce Rudisil has exhausted every opportunity and flirting with that chalk line. He even looked down at it to make sure it wasn't too disrupted.
Well, either way, Rudisil will have to go back to his dugout and probably can't talk to the chalk line from there. That brings up Cade Hentz with Holub in scoring position. Van Bars taking a while on the mound, now delivers. A strike one at 91 to Cade Hentz.
Again, Van Bars had that ball for a while, waiting for that discussion between manager TJ Brockway and the infield umpire, so he was really waiting for that pitch.
0-1 from Van Bars. This one hit hard into right field, but Adelman makes the grab. Hollub's going to tag and head down to third. The throw isn't going to get there. And Goldhill comes off the bag to meet that one. So 2 outs, but able to move Holub to third base.
You said that Holub isn't known for his wheels. I think he heard you, David. He's taken off. You know, you mentioned his college football rebuild. He's not going to choose Syracuse, our school, after, hearing us talk about his lack of wheels anymore, I don't think. 3 Syracuse guys on the staffs, though. You, me, and Oliver down at the track, man. Would love a good Orangeman rebuild.
Yeah, I'm sure you could get my former colleague Tyler Lochte on that one. Not sure if he has the new college football game. Tyler joined Jake and I at the last home game I was at back on Sunday. And now Krieger facing a 1-1 count, but Tyler joined us for a half inning before Gaithersburg got the job done then. 1-1 count. Misses high and outside on Krieger. 2-1. A base knock will tie this game with Holub on third base. Krieger struck out his first time up. 2-1, 2 outs. Leaves that one alone. 3-1 now to Magnus Krieger. Three one to the Seton Hall Pirate. And he's not touching that one with a 10-foot pole or his bat. And now Krieger stands on first base. Runners on the corners yet again for Gaithersburg. Zach White will now step up to home plate.
You mentioned he's Seton Hall. They're the Pirates. Their logo wears an eye patch. I'm glad Krieger doesn't because he's showing off his impressive vision letting that one go.
That's now 2 walks in this inning for Van Bars. The one to Holub on a full count. Didn't get Holub to bite there. Didn't get Krieger to bite there. And now Zach White watches ball 1 above the zone. 1-0.
Another guy with good vision. Zach White's got that catcher's eye. He knows where the zone is framed.
1-0. Knows that one is inside because he had to scooch back a little bit to avoid another hit by pitch that he got in his first at bat. He then advanced to second on the wild pitch, the ball that disappeared. Don't know if we got that disappearance of a baseball. 2-0, left down low, 3-0 for Van Bars.
With that hit by pitch last time around, Zach White is now tied for second in hit by pitchers on the team. Leading it is Collin Hughes, another catcher. So the guys behind the plate really like to wear the ball.
Not sure if they like to do that without their gear on. 3-0. Had to find the zone for Van Bars, and it does. Called strike 1. 3-1 the count now. You mentioned Collin Hughes. Hughes leaving the Giants team after he committed to Rollins College in Orlando. 3-1. This one hit hard and into left field. An RBI single for Zach White ties this game. It's 1-1 here in Gaithersburg.
Really impressive piece of hitting there from Zach White. He's working with 2 outs. He's got the corners, and he finds the perfect spot to drop that ball in.
And just really nice at-bat overall. Wasn't looking for the walk, but able to drive in a run nonetheless. Krieger advances to second, and that'll bring up Aiden Marino now, who popped up, flew out to right field his last time up. That one skips past Brinkman. Both runners advance, and now 2 runners in scoring position here for Gaithersburg, trying to take their first lead of the game.
Zach White, that will be his 7th RBI of the season. Congratulations to him. And his second sort of stolen bases. Last one didn't count because of the stuck ball in the back padding, but gets again to scoring position very quickly.
He's there now on second. 1-0 finds the zone on Marino. 1-1. Marino, a rising sophomore, still currently in the portal, searching for his next home. Could certainly add a highlight reel play here with 2 runners in scoring position. 1-1. This one hit hard into straightaway center. Under it, however, is Gomez to make the grab. And that will end the 4th inning. Gaithersburg able to get back the one they lost. And it's now a tie game yet again here from Criswell Automotive Field. We'll step away 1-1 on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Now 1-1, a brand new ball game as we enter the fifth inning. Owen Singer back out on the mound for Gaithersburg. Had 3 batters faced in his first inning. Did allow a base runner via a walk, but then got a 6-4-3 double play from his defense to end that top of the fourth. Starts Dudek off with strike one. Now that one inside at 73. It's 1-1 to Nate Dudek.
Dudek's an interesting pick for your designated hitter.
He hits this one into left field. Powell had to go a little zigzag there in left field, but does make the grab for out number 1.
I was going to say, Dudek has a 179 batting average. He doesn't help it there for a designated hitter. Usually you want to see a little bit more, especially for a guy that's supposed to be a pitcher in Dudek. So interesting to see. Clearly the Braves see something in his bat that, maybe it's just in the cave, just waiting to come out. It's something.
There is certainly something there, but nothing there for Alexei Goldhill. He watches ball 1. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. I mean, I think part of it just comes down to reps. This one hit hard, lined right to the glove of Marino. Fields that one on a knee, but a really nice play from Marino. Had a tough line drive earlier that gets past him, but right there, able to keep that one into his glove for 2 outs now in the top of the 5th.
I'm sure he's very happy to kind of make up for a mistake earlier, keeping this one directly in front of him, not even having to make a throw.
Now the top of the order up for the Braves. It's Trent Ottelman, who is 0 for 1 in this game. Struck out and then walked. Grounds this one to Marino. Not a line out, but a ground out for Aiden Marino. So Owen Singer has faced the minimum through his 2 innings of relief. 6 batters faced, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. Certainly encouraging for Gaithersburg to continue to have Singer be effective on the mound.
We talked about at the top of the broadcast, the bullpen really stepping up in the second half of the season. It was a struggle. It was difficulty. We talked about it with Coach TJ Brockway about getting that relief come July, and now since we've gotten to the summer, the midsummer, the bullpen is heated up. They've gotten relief, and a guy like Singer is a perfect example of coming out and shoving.
Well, we're halfway through this game on a Friday night. The lights starting to come on here at Criswell Automotive Field. 1-1. The score remains heading to the bottom of the 5th. Gaithersburg, after a quick inning on defense, trying to have another long inning on offense and take their first lead of the game. When we come back, Nate Houghton-Henley, Brady Powell, and Danny Orr, top of the order, leading off for Gaithersburg. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Nate Houghton-Henley, a triple and a single his first 2 times up, and both those times he's led off the inning and will lead off in the bottom of the 5th here. And now a time called. I believe the music may have ran a little long. Not sure if there was something else, but now we will get underway. Van Baar back out on the mound for the Braves. That pitch inside to Henley. Now 1-0.
I was Trackman had it as 82 and then disappeared, but that would have been one of the slowest pitches we've seen from Van Bars.
1-0. Henley ends up going around. Probably would have been a called strike anyway. 1-1.
There officially is an 82, and you can tell Van Bars were in the fifth inning. Probably still has the heat to pack, but he's definitely mixed in more of his off speed.
1-1. Off the neck of the bat from Henley, fouled off. Now down 1-2. As I mentioned, Henley with a triple in the bottom of the first and then a single in the bottom of the third, trying to add to what has been an amazing week for Henley. The 1-2 pops this one up into shallow center, and it is caught by J.W. Kohlmeyer.
You could hear Houghton Henley was not happy when it came off his bat. He knew that was just got a little bit under it, set it too high. Made great contact though. It was great sound.
Yeah, just really got under it there and almost went into no man's land. Probably would have been just a single for Henley. That brings up Brady Powell, who watches ball one. Powell 0 for 2. Kind of interesting position. You don't often see him in this position. Struck out his first time up and then grounded into a double play. That one hits Powell, so probably not getting on base how he would have imagined. But the third hit by pitch issued by Van Bars sees Brady Powell on base for the first time tonight.
And Brady Powell, when he gets on base, he doesn't like to stay where he's at. He leads the team with 16 stolen bases. I've wanted to talk about that all night, but an uncharacteristic 0 for 2 for him, so excited to see if he gets going out on the path.
Or lines this one right to Kohlmeyer at shortstop, who tries to get the double play, but unsuccessful there. A pick from Frank Kuzenko keeps that one in the field of play. So quick 2 outs, that one leaving the bat of Orr at 98. Just as I was going to say, Powell got that oven mitt strapped up, but wisely staying near first to avoid the double play. That'll bring up Andrew Holub. Holub watches ball one. So this is yet another game. We saw it a lot pretty much in the middle part of the season for Gaithersburg. As Powell takes off here, high throw, and a high throw down. Powell in there safely. Another stolen base for Powell, who gets up a little gingerly but appears to be okay.
Make it 17, David. I said it so just a minute ago. He doesn't like to stay on first base, Brady Powell. If there's an open bag, he goes for it.
It's now 2-0, a runner in scoring position for Andrew Holub. And that's called strike on the low part of the zone for Holub. Holub has the only run for Gaithersburg thus far in this game. 1-1 ball game, that is. But a 2-1 count to Holub. Swings and misses there, evening the count at 2 apiece.
Holland, we've talked about that power. He had that 102 line out to the third baseman Goldhill earlier in the game. Kind of just an unfortunate spot to put the ball. He'd like to get this one into play with a guy in scoring position.
2-2. Called strike 3. Holub upset at that one as he makes his way back to the dugout. It was a little on the inside, but either way, it ends the inning. Aiden Van Bars through 5 strands another Giants base runner in scoring position. But we will step away, heading to the 6th inning here on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network as we go to the sixth inning here on the Giants Broadcast Network from Criswell Automotive Field, where Gaithersburg had an away game last night, but here the home team on their home field. The game that was in Woodbridge got moved to Gaithersburg last night. Collin, you were here for that one. Must have been interesting to have to call an away game for Gaithersburg for the entirety of those 9 innings.
Luckily, we still got to use the home broadcast booth. It was kind of really funny all night, mentioning they were in the away jerseys.
2-0 is chopped foul by Kohlmeyer.
Away jerseys and batting at the top of innings. That came into play towards the end because the winning run was at the plate for the Grays at the end of the game. So would not have been fun to see a walk-off in their home stadium.
Now 3-1 the count to Kohlmeyer. I couldn't imagine what the reaction would have been for that to happen, to get walked off in your own home stadium. 3-1. Misses low and inside on Kohlmeyer. And the second base runner issued by Singer, both via a walk. It was Connor Doherty who drew the first walk on Owen Singer, but he was the first of 2 outs on a double play ball. So no runners have gotten further than first while Singer's been on the mound. First pitch to Gomez, called strike 1. Franklin Gomez, an RBI single his last time up, 1 for 2 in this game. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Kohlmeyer goes to second, kind of a delayed steal, and Marino puts the tag on him.
And not quite a double play this time to get rid of that first base runner, but still that walk is erased in a sort because the bases are empty, and still Singer has the chance to potentially face the minimum.
Was a delayed steal, I would assume, from Kohlmeyer, because it really happened after the pitch was delivered. This one lofted over to Marino, who makes the play at first. Had to give himself a little spin move there to square up first base, but able to do so. And there's quickly 2 gone, bases empty.
And that would have been interesting to see how that would have played out had they not thrown out on the last pitch and go. Maybe a double play opportunity or a fielder's choice. Many things come into play. It's all these one pitch happenings in baseball that, the Braves could find themselves in a better or a worse position.
That first pitch misses outside on Frank Kuzmenko. Yeah, going back to that ground out, I think it probably would have been a single for Gomez, because you have to think about the double play positioning of second and shortstop. It expands those gaps, and so that one put into the gap by Gomez. This one put onto the other side of Marino, who makes the sliding play and throws in time. Aiden Marino gets at least a piece of every single out. Gets the caught stealing and then 2 groundouts.
Aiden Marino being the star of the show for the infield, making sure that his guy Owen Singer continues to only face the minimum in each inning.
So it has been 9 batters faced through 3 innings of work for Owen Singer, and we'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Still a 1-1 ball game here on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Bryce Rudisil will be up first for Gaithersburg. Has been a thorn in the side of the Braves of late, trying to keep that trend going. He's currently 0 for 2 heading into this at-bat, grounded out to the pitcher Van Bars, who's back out on the mound. This will be his 70th pitch here, and it's ball one, still touching the low 90s.
Yeah, I talked about the potential for Van Bars slowing down an inning ago, and proves me wrong as he's still tagging the low 90s. That one, again, similar theme to the beginning of the game, struggle to find the zone.
Yeah, now 2-0 to Bryce Rudisil. Van Bars now up to 72 pitches with that one missing outside again. 3 straight balls to start this inning of work. Van Bars has done a phenomenal job, really, at just damage mitigation. 3-0. 4-pitch walk for Bryce Rudisil to start off this inning. I was just going to mention the hard hit balls that the Giants have been able to generate, but just haven't gotten it necessarily past the fielders. As I mentioned, damage mitigation, but then a 4-pitch walk awarded by Van Bars.
And you talked about that mitigation. Van Bars has been fantastic. Again, 1 run. His infield has been giving him support. There is action in the bullpen, as you would expect as a guy into the 6th inning.
That pitch misses inside on Cade Hentz. So 5 straight balls here for Van Bars, a streak that no pitcher would ever want to have. But 1-0 to Cade Hentz. Rudisil dancing on first. Van Bars delivers, and it's popped up and out of play. Would have been called strike, so that breaks the streak of balls for Van Bars.
I believe we're still yet to see a meeting from manager Chris Warren out on the mound for Van Bars. So you wonder how long he'll go, because usually he wants at least one talk through before pulling his pitcher.
And Rudisil, just before he got his primary lead, having to go back on that pickoff move, nearly caught him sleeping. Looks like Rudisil was not looking at Van Bars on the pickoff move, but able to just move his leg back in. 1-1 to Cade Hentz. Rudisil dances on first. He takes off, high pitch, low throw this time, but it gets out of the glove of the shortstop there. Appears to be a new shortstop, number 13. So not J.W. Kohlmeyer in the field.
Somebody, if it's wearing 13, it's somebody not on the rosters as we have it, so I'll work on finding that.
There are 2 infielders with 99, so it could either be Andre Buffard or Caleb Williams. Now 2-1, that one gets over the head of Hentz, and Rudisil will go to third. 3-1 the count, from Van Bars.
Rudisil, not a guy exactly known for his base stealing capabilities. He's no Houghton Henley or Brady Powell, but he finds himself all the way across from where he began his trip with back-to-back stolen bases.
And based on the live scoring, it is Andre Buffard at shortstop taking over for J.W. Kohlmeyer. 3-1. This one chopped over to Buffard, who has to make a grab and makes the throw in time. Kind of had to Odell it almost onto his back foot, and able to throw over after looking down Rudisil. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th.
And once we find out who he is, it's Andrew Buffard, and it is a really impressive play by him. Because he had to jump up there. He takes the time. Smart play to look down Rudisil first, but still.
Catch cannot be made in foul territory, and honestly, with the amount that all 3 fielders were doing, Doherty, Frankuzenko, and Adelman charging in from right, the Braves are probably fortunate that that one dropped, because Rudisil likely would have taken off right as that one's caught.
I'm shocked that they didn't run into each other. I saw multiple spin moves and miscommunications. It would have been a lot to deal with had they found the ball in the sky.
So now 0-1 the count to Magnus Krieger. Krieger walked his last time up and then struck out back in the bottom of the second. 0-1. Lays off that one, 1-1. Still touching the low 90s is Van Bars. However, he is about to throw his 80th pitch. 81st pitch. 1-1. And the 81st misses at 91. 2-1.
Van Bars has 16 innings pitched on the season, really adding to that count tonight.
He's gotten through 5 1/3 thus far. 2-1. This one just grounded over to John Paseur, the first base coach for Gaithersburg. Fields it. 2-2 count now to Krieger. A base knock or a deep fly ball will give Gaithersburg their first lead of the game. Krieger's job seems a little more simple speaking it out here. 2-2. That one skips in front of Brinkman. Just like the Bank Brinks trucks. Brinkman keeping that one safe and away. Full count for Magnus Krieger, as the home plate needed some cleaning there after the block from Brinkman. Infield still playing in. Full count, 1 away. Pitch from Van Bars. Left that one inside, and Krieger gets his second walk of the game.
And Krieger got his hands moving there, but I mentioned his good eyesight at bat ago, and it follows up here. Smart to stop the hands before they get anywhere past the plate, and he takes it up on first base.
And now the third time tonight, Gaithersburg has runners on the corners, but now a mound visit. Collin, you mentioned it moments ago. No mound visits yet for Van Bars, as he was dealing and even had traffic that he faced, but was still able to get out of the jams. But now here, with just 1 out, has runners on the corners and 2 walks given up in this inning.
It was a matter of time before manager Chris Warren had to go out there and talk to his man on the mound, Van Bars. It'll be interesting to see. It doesn't look like he's taken the game ball from him quite yet here, so he's going to stay out. There is action in the bullpen, so we'll see just how far the Pitt Community College product can go.
Now he will be up to 85 pitches with his first pitch to Zach White, who now steps in. Runners on the corners. Just 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. Gaithersburg looking for their first lead. Swing and a miss there from White. It was pretty much middle high on White. Krieger dancing around on first. Didn't take off. 0-1. Called strike 2 on the outside part of the plate. White in a quick 0-2 hole. Krieger dances on first. Van Bars delivers. Swing and a miss from White. So after 2 walks in 3 batters, now a strikeout following a mound visit that's got to feel good for Van Bars. And that'll bring up Aiden Marino.
And that mound visit appears to have rejuvenated him. Puts 3 in the zone, catches Zach White swinging to leave. He got a piece of it, but handled well by Brinkman for the out. So he's still tagging those low 90s.
First pitch to Marino, tags the low 90s again. Collin, 91, clips just the low part of the zone on Marino, who's 0 for 2 in this game. Fouling that one off. He's down 0-2.
That strikeout to Zach White gives Van Bars 20 full innings on the season, as he entered with 16-1. Now he's through that. 21 full innings.
And now looking for back-to-back punch-outs. His 90th pitch from Van Bars. That one high. No throw from Brinkman as Krieger steals second. Now 1-2, 2 runners in scoring position to Aiden Marino. That strikeout of White eliminated the sacrifice opportunity for Gaithersburg. Now above 90 pitches is Van Bars. 1-2, 2 outs. Inside on Marino, make that 2-2.
And Marino, we talked about how good he is defensively. He does sit at the bottom of the stat sheet, batting average-wise for Gaithersburg. So a great opportunity to bring a full circle game if he can get the offense to match his stellar defense.
2-2. Tipped, staying alive. That they don't say tipped. Now they do say tipped is the home plate umpire. Brinkman still had the reactions to handle that one. Rudisil gives Brinkman his mask back, and everyone goes back to their positions.
And I know it's a stylistic thing, but this umpire tonight has had some really late calls to things. I'm not saying his reaction time's late, but he sometimes is late to strikes and is very late to the tip call there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I heard it tipped the bat of Marino, but it may have been hard for Krieger and Rudisil. Obviously, they're in a game. They're being competitive. They want to score as soon as possible. But fighting that one off was Marino. 2-2 again. This one hit hard and into left center field. That's down for a base hit. Rudisil scores. Krieger coming around to home. The throw will be cut off. And a 2 RBI double for Aiden Marino.
Aiden Marino, I talked about him. He's at the bottom of the barrel in terms of batting average for Gaithersburg. Gets his first RBI of the season with that stand-up double. So congratulations to Aiden Marino. I talked about the stellar defense. He's got the batting to match it now.
Yeah, his first 2 RBIs of the season give Gaithersburg their first lead of the game, and that might be enough to chase Aiden Van Bars out of this game. And boy, oh boy, did Aiden Marino square up that pitch. Came in at 90 and then tagged it at 91 into that left center field gap and gave Gaithersburg a 3-1 lead. A new pitcher will be coming in and warming up for the Braves. We'll introduce you to him when we come back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Aiden Marino with a 2 RBI double chases the starter for the Braves out of the game. Aiden Van Bars out of this game, 5 1/3 innings pitched, giving up 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 4 walks, 3 hit by pitches, and 4 strikeouts for him. He's now going to be replaced by number 47, Tom Bork, a junior from William & Mary.
And Tom Bork, an impressive guy to bring out of the bullpen, considering he's 3rd on the team in strikeouts. So not some guy that you typically see coming in the middle innings, the bottom of the 6th in this case.
Looking to minimize the damage done, and that was a 2-out double for Aiden Marino. Much needed. Gaithersburg had stranded runners in scoring position multiple times tonight, but Marino delivers there, scoring Rudisil and Krieger. Now Marino stands on second, Nate Houghton-Henley, and the top of this order up now for Gaithersburg. First pitch from Bork, scoring to bunt is Henley, and it's ball 1 low as Henley pulls it back.
This is the first time we've seen Nate Henley not lead off an inning for his at-bat. He's the leadoff guy. We saw him continue to be at the top of the order come new innings. So first time he's got a guy in scoring position to work with.
1-0 inside again, and Henley's actually faced a lot of inside pitches, I feel like. I mean, we talked about his previous at-bats. He has squared up a couple, got a triple back in the first. He's 2 for 3 in this game, and a safe base knock with Marino's speed might make it 4-1. 2-0, however, now is the count for Henley. Leaves that one way upstairs, now 3-0.
Talked about Henley, very impressive. Those 2 hits early in the game. Now trying to show some situational hitting with 2 outs and the speedy Marino in scoring position. I'm sure he'd love to relive that first at-bat.
3-0. We'll see if he has the green light here. There is 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Pitch from Bork inside. A 4-pitch walk to start out this relief outing for Tom Bork.
Tom Bork doesn't begin to chase that strikeout leader on his team. He still remains third. I said he has 16 of them. It's Tyler Kim, actually, with 20. So he's going to need 4 to catch up to that lead. I'm sure there'll be a little clubhouse talk if he can find that in this relief outing.
He now faces Brady Powell, who reached base for the first time via hit by pitch, one of 3 given up by Aiden Van Bars. First pitch to Powell finds the zone. The first strike thrown by Tom Bork, and it's now 0-1.
And it's going to be a mindset change for a lot of these Giants hitters as they were facing a lot of low 90s from Van Bars, and we see an 81 come out of the clip for Bork there. So switching up where you're going to be putting that bat in terms of the speed of the pitch.
0-1, runners go. A high pitch, a throw down. Henley safe into second. The double steal pays off, and it's a 1-1 count now to Brady Powell.
And that is a risky move by manager T.J. Brockway. His staff and the runners on the bases. 2 outs going with the double steal. Gets him in scoring position. And the Giants are dancing. They're trying to get dangerous. They want to extend this lead.
Now 1-1, 2 runners in scoring position again for the Giants. Called strike 2 on the outer part of the plate. 1-2 the count now to Brady Powell. Casey Gibbs spoke about Brinkman's pop time. Brinkman, a Liberty guy. Casey Gibbs, the third base coach for Gaithersburg, a former Longwood guy. Maybe some familiarity there. 1-2. Almost was strike 3. Brinkman thought so. I believe Goldhill at third also stepped into foul ground, thinking that was inning over. But it is ball 2, and now 2-2, 2 outs. Pitch to Powell, misses outside. He works a full count. We mentioned this aggressive but patient approach from Powell. Very aggressive on the first pitch, but can dial it back so easily to work into these deep counts.
And we've talked about it. He's yet to find a hit tonight. Has got on base via walk, so I'm sure he'd like to see his first one land in the grass here.
Full count, 2 outs, misses outside. And now the bases are loaded for Danny Orr.
And catcher Charlie Brinkman thought he had strike 3 quite a while ago. Now he's going to have to get set with bases loaded. So not quite where he wished he was. I bet he wished he was in the on-deck circle by now. But he's going to have to deal with Danny Orr, who's one of the hottest hitters for this Gaithersburg team.
He is one of the hottest, one of the most consistent hitters for Gaithersburg. Now as the base is loaded, swings and misses there. And actually, Collin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that looks like a 28 behind the plate now and a different mask that I didn't catch. So it looks to be Ryan Santangelo, the senior at Bryant, behind the plate, replacing Brinkman.
That's correct. We were blocked by the umpire. And
0-1, swinging and missing that one in the dirt. Now Orr is down 0-2. And I think that's why, honestly, Casey Gibbs might have sent Henley and Marino on that double steals, because Brinkman, with the incredible pop time that he has, out of the lineup.
Yeah, when he's replaced by a guy with a less pop time, why not take advantage?
Now 0-2, 2 outs. Bases loaded for Danny Orr. Swinging and missing is Orr, and Bork able to once again mitigate damage, leaves Marino stranded on third, but more importantly leaves the bases loaded.
And escaping there for Bork is huge for this Braves team. They don't let the Giants blow the roof off this game. The hottest hitter, the at-bat leader, gets to play with bases loaded. Usually, start to worry a little bit. But Bork, like you said, mitigates the damage. And for a problem that's been there for the Giants has been leaving base runners in scoring position. And right there is not something you want to see.
Well, the defensive substitution, Ryan Santangelo, will be up first for the Braves as they look to respond to a 2-run bottom of the 6th from the Gaithersburg Giants. It's now 3-1 on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. I'm David Lewis. Alongside me, Collin Smith. We go to the final 3 frames here in the top of the 7th. It's now 3-1 Gaithersburg, getting their first lead of the game, courtesy of Aiden Marino. Now Owen Singer back out on the mound, facing Ryan Santangelo, his first at-bat of the game. Santangelo watches ball 1. 1-0. Swing and a miss from Santangelo, now 1-1. And Singer has faced the minimum through 3, however has allowed 2 base runners, but quickly his defense has come to his aid and made up for him. 1-1 popped into center. Henley calls that one and makes the grab for out number 1.
And Santangelo coming into the lineup kind of shocked you and I for a second. We didn't notice it at first and isn't able to find what he wants in the zone there, flies out. He's shaking his head as he's headed back to the dugout. You could tell he liked what he saw with that pitch.
Well, Brinkman had led off the top of the 2nd and top of the 4th and had flown out to Krieger in right both times. Krieger practicing his swing up there. He came around to score last inning, already getting ready for his next at-bat. It's 0-1 to Connor Doherty. He grounds this one over to Marino, fields it on the run, throws over to Rudisill, and Rudisill with a nice play. It may not look like it, but Rudisill stepping through that baseball gets the out of Doherty.
And really impressive work. That right side of the field in the infield, Rudisill and Marino, they've been on the same page all night. Especially Marino, we've talked about he's been spinning, he's been moving. He had that one pass ball earlier in the game, but he has since recovered almost perfectly.
And had an RBI, 2 RBI double as well on the offensive side to give his team the lead. Squaring to bunt, pulling it back is Michael Lavonga. Lavonga not subbed out in this game, remaining in the lineup. That is not Lavonga. But he grounds out either way. That is number 8, Walker Bazile. Apologize for that mix-up. Bazile grounds out. It's 3 up, 3 down for Singer, who gets through 4 innings in relief, facing just 12 batters.
Really impressive from Singer, the sophomore at Marymount. He's a guy coming out of the bullpen. He's a guy, he doesn't throw in the high 90s. He's a D3 guy. He's shoving so far. The minimum, and once again, the minimum. His pitch count's staying low, so manager TJ Brockway might as well leave him out there.
It's currently at 35 pitches as he gets through 4 innings of work. A fantastic addition to this team is Owen Singer, And like him, we're going to stretch here on the Giants Broadcast Network. We'll be right with you for the bottom of the 7th here from Criswell Automotive Field. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. That'll bring up Andrew Holub as Gaithersburg, the last time they had the bats, they grabbed the lead, their first of the game. 3-1, the score remains heading to the bottom of the 7th.
You mentioned they grabbed the lead, but they also left bases loaded, would like to clear out as many runs as they possibly can as we get to the 7th inning.
First pitch to Holub. Misses inside. Still Tom Bork on the mound. We mentioned his damage mitigation in his last inning. Stranded the bases loaded. And just a lot of runners left in scoring position for Gaithersburg. Two and 0 count to Andrew Holub from Bork. That one does clip the zone. Holub was frustrated with his last at-bat, which stranded Powell on second as he struck out looking. Was able to stay within somewhat reason, though, and was not thrown out of this game.
I was just going to say, Holub has had, a difficultly framed zone from the umpire today. That one is a ball, bit unmistakable. It did hit the dirt. So that last one was a bit high, a bit outside, but I'm saying that Holub's got to go swinging for it.
Now 3-1 to Holub. Doesn't swing at the previous pitch. He does foul that one off, however, to draw the count full.
That one most certainly would have shaken our camera. That hit the fence real quick again. Camera up in the booth today from some tripod technical difficulties.
Can't control everything. We do what we can here in Gaithersburg. Full count pitch. Misses upstairs, and for the second time tonight, Holub is aboard via a walk. He scored his last time that happened.
Let's hope they can do that again. Bryce Rudisil up again. He had some really impressive base running last time around. Back-to-back stolen bases to get from first to third in as many pitches.
And then he came around as well to be the leading run. Now has Holub on first. Leaving that first pitch from Bork alone. Now 1-0. Pitch, swing and a miss from Rudisil, evens the count at 1 apiece. Bork, a member of the tribe of William and Mary. 1-1. This one hit hard and into shallow right field. That's down for a single. Holub had to have some hesitation on the base paths, as Connor Doherty could almost reach that one if he was about half a foot taller.
And that hesitation from Doherty, and also impressive from Alderman. That was a good throw to get it to second base quickly, and Holub not risking it.
So Rudisil with his first hit of the game. He's now 1 for 3, walked and scored when he was last on the base paths. And that'll bring up Cade Hentz. Hentz grounded out to shortstop his first time up. First pitch Clips the top of the zone on Hence. It's now 0-1. Now 0-1 to Cade Hence. Holub on second, Rudisil on first. Hence fouls this one up into the netting, and he's down 0-2.
Hence only has 6 hits since joining the Giants here in the month of July. He comes up from Jacksonville, Florida, the home of the Dolphins. I'm sure he's used to this hot, muggy weather that we're experiencing in the DMV.
Sure, he's not really a fan of it, just like I am, as you are not a fan at all either, Collin. 0-2 tipped back into the glove of Santangelo, and Hence is down on strikes.
And I'm not a fan of the weather. Hence wasn't a fan of that at bat as he goes down swinging. But as you mentioned, man, David, it has been really hot. I was talking to you before the broadcast started. I was dripping in sweat. I was wearing my lacrosse equipment. I was working camp earlier. I'm like so sweaty up here in the booth. So are you. We're setting up cameras. It's ridiculous right now.
Well, let's see if Krieger can battle through this humidity here. Watches strike one, so that one 86, the most middle pitch we've seen tonight on our TrackMan.
That would be a perfect tic-tac-toe dot circle if we were playing that game with the TrackMan zone right down the middle. With about the middle speeds we've seen too.
Yeah, right in between that low 90s and mid 70s. That one 82 loops outside, but is swing and a miss from Krieger. He's now down 0-2. Krieger struck out his first time up and then has now back-to-back walks. But he is a long way from a walk here, down 0-2, 1 out, and 2 runners on. Pitch from Bork. As he looks down, Holub delivers now. Swing and a miss there from Krieger, who's down on strikes for the second time tonight. Back-to-back punch-outs for Bork.
Zach White coming to the plate now. Talked a lot about him earlier. The walks we've seen a lot of 4-pitch walks. He's still the guy that got hit by a pitch to begin off this game. I'm sure he'd rather put his bat behind this one.
White does have an RBI single that drove in Holub. Could replicate that if it's well placed, but watches strike one there. Low, but on the outside black part of the strike zone. Pretty close to 50-50, but catches enough. And now 0-1 to Zach White. Leaves that one alone, and wisely so. It's now 1-1. Cicadas making the most noise here at Criswell Automotive Field. Zach White trying to make it the sound of his bat. Holub in scoring position on second. Rudisil on first. 1-1. Leaving that one in the dirt now. 2-1 to the ULM product. Bork with a lot slower delivery, I was going to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's not getting any louder. Bork slow time on the mound. It's gone dead silent.
2-1 misses upstairs, 3-1, so slowing down from pitcher to pitcher is another thing to think about for these batters. Just a lot slower progression from Bork as this game seemingly slows down. 3-1 now to White. Leaving that one alone, and now that loads the bases. Back-to-back innings, the Giants have now had bases loaded.
And Zach White finding his way to first base without, I'm sure it was a lot less painful this time around getting this walk, but you know, the patience doesn't always pay off for Bork. We're talking about his slow set and ready, and it doesn't pay off because he's loaded the bases full for himself. He got out of it last inning. Can he find that magic again?
Marino's trying to find that magic again. First pitch, misses upstairs on Marino. He had a 2 RBI double just last inning that scored both Rudisill and Krieger. But he faces 1-0 count now. Full count, or excuse me, second pitch on with the full bases, misses, or excuse me, finds the zone. 1-1. I'm getting all tied around.
The heat, the silence, it's everything here in Gaithersburg.
It's certainly throwing me off. We'll say that much. But 1-1. 2 outs. This one hit hard into left field. Tracking it, however, is Bazile, and makes the grab in left field. And that pitch was in a similar spot as the one Marino was able to reach safely on, but just tails right into the glove of Walker Bazile for out number 3.
And once again, back-to-back innings, leaving the bases stranded and loaded for Gaithersburg. They have the lead, but just think about how different this game could be, David. Have they gotten those base runners across home plate safely? Aiden Marino, nothing short of trying. He sent it 300 feet, needed about 50 more to get out of here.
Well, not the home run fly ball that Marino was looking for, but it was the fly out that the Braves were looking for. They'll grab the bats, and we'll head to the top of the 8th inning here from Crisp Automotive Field on the Giants Broadcast Network. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network, and much to my relief, it's still Owen Singer on the mound. Collin, you mentioned his low pitch count, and we mentioned how he's faced 12 batters through 4 relief innings. You can now make that his 5th inning of work starting now.
Really impressive from Singer to make it through 5 out of the bullpen. We talked about the struggles Gaithersburg had to have begin this season out of the bullpen. They're now finding more consistency as we get into July.
And one two-way player will replace another. Kendall Cassidy replacing Nate Dudek as the DH. Cassidy has appeared on the mound, but has also appeared in the batter's box. He watches ball 1. Cassidy, the rising senior, pops this one into left field, hence calls it and makes the grab. Had Powell charging in, but either way, the out is made, and there's one away for Owen Singer in the top of the 8th.
I was going to compliment Cassidy. He's the team leader in innings pitched for Metro South County Braves, but not quite the team leader in reaching the base as he flies out there.
Was batting 1,000 up until recently because he had just 2 at-bats, one where he walked and one where he had a 2 RBI double, I believe. So he was also slugging 2,000.
You wonder if he just wanted to put the bat down there for the rest of the season and print that and frame that stat sheet.
0-1 skips and goes towards the Braves dugout. Now 1-1 to the 9-0 hitter Alexei Goldhill. Just double checking to make sure there isn't another new hitter, but it is still Alexei Goldhill, who now has a 2-1 count on his hands.
And manager Chris Warren has unloaded the clip of reserve subs on David and I, so good to make sure it's still Goldhill.
Now 3-1 the count. Singer a little struggling here in this at-bat. He has given up 2 walks previously, but both of those runners erased via double play and caught stealing. 3-1 finds the zone, and your favorite pet peeve there, nearly happened. Goldhill stepped out. He didn't toss his bat.
He didn't toss his bat, like David said, my pet peeve. I want a rule change in baseball. If you drop your bat on a called strike thinking it's ball four, you should be out.
This one lined to right. Krieger came in, but then took a couple steps back and makes out number 2. So after thinking he had a walk, Goldhill retired via the line out.
Ball don't lie, David. Ball don't lie. I thought it should have been an out had he dropped that bat. He doesn't, but Magnus Krieger is the one to put him to bed.
Singer seemingly trying to put to bed this Braves lineup, as now he has 2 outs facing Trent Adelman here with trying to get through 5 innings in relief. He's already gone past his longest outing thus far. He had 4 innings against the T-Bolts, now through 4 2/3. 1-0 misses inside, 2-0 to Adelman. Adelman, who is 0 for 2 with a walk this game. 2-0, this one hit hard and right back up the middle. So the first hit Singer has allowed comes with 2 outs in the top of the 8th.
This is also something unknown for Singer. He's now facing the 4th batter in an inning. He hasn't done that all night, David.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't. So unless there is a caught stealing before a pitch is thrown, then he will have faced a 4th batter. But maybe doesn't get through 4 at-bats, depending on what happens on the base pass. He does throw a pickoff down to first. That is great timing from Owen Singer.
I was going to say, he's a lefty. He's got that perfect eye line. He really wanted it, David.
First pitch to Andre Beauford. Swings and misses. Beauford taking over for J.W. Kohlmeyer at shortstop, taking his first at-bat now. 0-1. Skips into the glove of White, now 1-1. Wonder if that played into the head of Singer, just being like, I faced the minimum. I have to at least try one time.
I feel like you have to at least try one time.
1-1 misses low. Now 2-1 to Beauford. Swing and a miss by Beauford. Now 2-2. This is actually Beauford's, believe, his first at bat of the summer. Excuse me, his 3rd at bat. He struck out the previous 2. I just wanted to make sure because he had zeros up on the board. 2-2. And that one called ball 3 low. Full count, 2 outs. Adelman will be running on the pitch here as he stands on first base. Andre Beauford trying to extend this inning. The full count pitch. Swing and a miss from Beauford. And Singer, after allowing his first hit, gets another punch out. And the side is retired. Collin, that was phenomenal.
It's not the minimum for Singer. It is 4 this time around, but really impressive nonetheless from the Marymount man. I'm sure manager TJ Brockway is thrilled to see the consistency from his bullpen.
I'm sure he is. I mean, it's just been great to see this, sort of bounce back in the second half of the season for this bullpen that struggled in the early going. But Owen Singer gets through 5 innings in relief. And we go to the bottom of the 8th here on the Giants Broadcast Network. The score still 3-1. Gaithersburg looking to add more. Back. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Not really able to do the bums there, much to your disappointment there.
Just got cut short of Sweet Caroline being played by assistant GM Daniel Harrington out on the soundboard tonight. By soundboard, I mean the iPad. We don't have too much fancy technology in Gaithersburg.
Nate Houghton-Henley up to face Charlie Magulik now on the mound. First pitch to Magulik inside. Magulik a bit of a sidewinder. Magulik also a two-way guy, so was actually in the game, batted in the Monday matchup between these two teams. Now misses outside on Henley. In that game back on Monday, Magulik went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and grounded into a double play. But now on the mound has thrown 3 straight balls.
And Houghton Henley loves leading off innings. We talked about he's the leadoff guy. Once again finds himself top of the order to begin the bottom of the 8th.
3-0, 4-pitch walk for Nate Houghton-Henley, who's aboard for the 4th time tonight. On-base guy does his job again. And then now back-to-back walks in back-to-back plate appearances for the future Terrapin.
It will be interesting to see if he tries to catch up to Brady Powell. Right now, Houghton Henley has 11 stolen bases. Brady Powell has 17, extending that lead tonight.
That one misses high on Powell. Well, Powell can try and make sure that doesn't happen by hitting a base knock, so eliminates more stolen base opportunities. Scoring to bunt again. That one called strike 1. Powell obviously confused. There's a loud what coming from either the bullpen or the dugout of Gaithersburg. It's now 1-1 to Powell. This one chopped over. Can it get in the gap? It's backhand to the throw. Over is offline, and an infield single after what could have been a double play ball finds its way into the gap. I mentioned earlier the double play depths of the middle infielders, and right there, it's Andre Beaufort can't make the play.
And Brady Powell really upset with that missed strike, but as the ump calls it on that bunt attempt that he pulled back, just says, you know what, I'll just go full swing and knock a base hit.
Now a double steal as Orr gets a bunt down, and Orr will try and leg this out. He does! Throw gets away! Henley's going to score. Powell's circling third. Powell's coming around to score. Orr into second. The throw home is offline, and it's 5-1 Gaithersburg.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about the base runners being left out there for Gaithersburg. There is a taking advantage of it. That's the second time we've seen third base coach Casey Gibbs go for a double steal. It pays off. 2 of the speediest guys on base round it. Get a good bunt from Danny Orr. A bad throw leads to both of them scoring, and a stand-up double bunt from Danny Orr.
Now Orr gives a little head fake there. That ball gets away from Santangelo, but staying on second is Orr. Yeah, that was just a really chaotic play, but, I mean, a really great move, and now that will make a mound visit. Here is the coaching staff for the Braves after it was ruled an infield single, a bunt single by Orr, which would have loaded the bases, but then the throwing error from Magulik himself into right field scores 2 runs. That's actually the first error of this game.
And I know I mentioned that it was a stand-up double bunt. I know that's not really something that happens, but impressive from Danny Orr. And the base running. Props to manager TJ Brockway, the way he sets up his lineup with Nate Houghton-Henley leading off Brady Powell in the 2-hole. Obviously, you're not expecting to have that perfectly match up with the 8th inning, but 2 speedy guys followed up by the do-it-all man, Danny Orr, another speedy guy. When you get all 3 of them running the bases at the same time, chaos ensues. We see errors made and 2-run score this time around.
It's certainly been nice to see just how Gaithersburg can pile on the runs. 2 critical insurance runs there. Now 5-1, called strike 1 on Andrew Holub after the mound visit. Or in scoring position on second. And Holub trying to extend the lead again for Gaithersburg.
Might mention Hollop's also working with 0 outs on the board, so a lot of freedom.
0-1 swinging for the fences there, but that one in at 80 on the inside part of the plate. Now 1-2 after the swing and miss by Hollop. Hollop recently transferring to USC Upstate. Now 1-2. Pitch from Migulik, fouled off by Hollop as he looks up at the netting. Probably thought he could have handled that pitch better. Was on the outside part of the plate. It was kind of an emergency hack as that one broke back over the plate at 82. Now 1-2. This one hit straight up into center. Ranging in is Gomez. He makes the grab in center field for the first out here in the bottom of the 8th.
And since that was right to Gomez in center field, no opportunity for Danny Orr to tag up and take 3. Would have been probably a throw out for him. As fast as Danny Orr is, I'm not sure he would have gotten there with Gomez lurking.
Well, interestingly enough, the catcher, Ryan Santangelo, got a better read on it than Gomez. Gomez seemingly stayed stagnant. This one rolled over to Frank Kuzenko at first, who mishandles the baseball, flipped to first in time to get Rudisil, but it does advance Orr to third. Tough break there for Rudisil. Thought he may have reached on an error. Instead, grounds out 3-1, the putout.
Frank Kuzenko, really impressive, not with the first handle of the ball, but to pick it up quickly and turn it around and get it to Migulik was really a heads-up play.
Really heads up to try and get his team out of this inning. This one grounded over to shortstop. Now over to first in time for the third out. But not before Gaithersburg gets 2 critical insurance runs. It's now 5-1. And Collin, we say this every time, is that going to be the last time that Gaithersburg grabs the bats?
They're 3 outs away. They haven't let up a run in quite a long time. The bats have been hot. I think they hope it's the last time they're up around. It'll be interesting. The bullpen has been fantastic because it's only been Owen Singer out of the back half of the pitching staff tonight. We'll come back to you with the top of the 9th inning.
Well, I just wanted to say for the foreseeable future, it'll still be Owen Singer back out on the mound to begin a 6th inning in relief.
Now, David, do you think he's upset that he faced 4 batters last time around and wants to get back to facing the minimum?
I mean, if he's upset, then we might see even better pitching somehow from the incoming freshman at Marymount when we come back, the top of the 9th inning on the Giants Broadcast Network. Back. Welcome back on the Giants Broadcast Network. Gaithersburg needs 3 outs to get their 4th win in a row. First pitch from Singer to begin his 6th inning in relief is strike 1 on Gomez. And Gomez is going to be the toughest it's going to get in this Braves lineup. 0-1, grounded right off the glove. Going to be a tough play for Hentz, who fields it, throws over to Rudisil to make the play.
And what an effort by the entirety of the infield from Gaithersburg. It originally goes off of Singer. Looks like it clipped his calf or something. Almost glad to see he's okay. Cade Hentz, what an athletic effort coming all the way across and picks that up and contorts his body, almost diving throw to Rudisil. Gets it there in time.
Had to pick it up in front of the second base bag. Almost tripped up by his teammate Aiden Marino, who came in to also try and make that play. Barehanded it, lost his glove, and then throws over to first. 1-0 now to Frankuzenko after an spectacular highlight reel play from Cade Hentz keeps Franklin Gomez off the base paths. Now 1-1 after Frankuzenko chops that one foul.
And so far, we haven't seen any signs of slowing down from Singer. And iBroadcaster jinxed him. He has a hit by pitch.
Well, now the home plate umpire is saying that hit the bat. So now there's going to be a meeting between the umpires to see what the call should be. Home plate umpire signaled that he needs to stay in the batter's box. Frankuzenko and the Braves dugout saying that he should stand on first. So umpires meeting here. Every base runner critical for the Braves. They're down to their final 2 outs in this game. They are 8-19 and currently sitting 5.5 games out of the final playoff spot in the South Division. Meanwhile, Gaithersburg sitting 5 games out of the final playoff spot in the North Division, but riding a 3-game win streak. And they say that Frankuzenko is going to have to put his batting gloves back on and get back in the batter's box. Now 1-2 the count.
He's clearly not happy about that. Neither is the Braves dugout as we see manager Chris Warren come out to discuss the call.
Obviously, he knows how critical it would be to get Frankuzenko on to at least try and start a rally for the Braves who find themselves down 4 after currently 5 unanswered runs on the board for Gaithersburg, and it's a 5-1 score. Still talking this over, a really long meeting, and the result stays the same for the Braves. Frankuzenko now facing a 1-2 count, 1 away here in the top of the 9th. Owen Singer trying to complete 6 innings in relief. 1-2. Leaving that one up after a lengthy delay. Now 2-2. Singer tried to get the swing and miss there, Frankuzenko, but leaving that one alone. And now a full count. This could either be a ball doesn't lie moment for the Giants or the Braves, depending on this pitch. Full count. And that one called ball 4, and Frankuzenko thought that was strike 3.
And for Nick Frankuzenko, this might be one of the most confusing at-bats of his life. He originally thought he'd reach the base on getting hit by a pitch. The ump doesn't think he's hit by the pitch, and then Frankuzenko thinks he's packing his bags to go home with a strike, but the ump maybe a little of a makeup call, David.
I mean, I've seen batters kind of lean out of the batter's box when they think it may have been strike 3. This one grounded over to Orr. Throws over to Marino at second. Throws to first. Double play to end this one. Owen Singer, 6 innings in relief. Gaithersburg, 5 unanswered runs, 4 wins in a row, and a 5-1 victory here tonight against the Metro South County Braves.
Ball doesn't lie, David. What should have been strike 3 leads to a double play opportunity, and Gaithersburg gets it done. Owen Singer coming out of the bullpen faces the minimum, I'll say the Baker's minimum because it was the minimum +1.
What a relief outing, and what a game from Gaithersburg. And this team is red hot, and they'll have a massive test tomorrow night in Bethesda against the Big Train. Every game matters. Now 9 full games remaining. They still have 9 and a 9th left as they have 3 outs remaining against the T-Bolts. So this is very much crunch time, but a huge win against the Braves here tonight.
The July Giants are hot like the weather. The win streak is here. They have found the consistency out of the bullpen. I say consistency, it was just 1 tonight. It was Owen Singer. What a guy. I'd also like to shout out Aiden Marino. Aiden Magic Marino. He was spinning and turning in the infield at second base, as well as got a 2-run RBI. That was just fantastic game from those two.
Fantastic game all around, and now a bit of scoreboard watching here tonight. The Grays currently up 5-4 in the top of the 7th on the Silver Spring Tacoma Thunderbolts. Obviously, Gaithersburg can gain a full game on the Thunderbolts, who have been struggling as of recently, should the Grays be able to grab that one. But here tonight, job done for Gaithersburg. 5-1 the final as they take down the Metro South County Braves. Jake Soronis will be in Bethesda tomorrow night as the Giants take on the Big Train. We'll have that game streaming for you 7 o'clock, first pitch on the Giants Broadcast Network. I'm David Lewis signing off for my colleague Collin Smith. What a win here in Gaithersburg.